As I thought about today, I couldn't help but think about the world in the kind of topsy-turvy state of things, challenging our very notion of who we are and who we are as citizens of the world. But as I shifted to this room today and what's happening here, I started to think about the only thing we can truly control, which is ourselves. Who are we? And more personally, who am I? It's a question we all ask ourselves from time to time in our lives, certainly when we're younger, as we're learning about the world, and still, fortunately, often enough, as we get older and wiser and more familiar with who and what we've become. So the question I ask myself, and I mean this in a self-reflecting way, is who is Tony Coles? But for a moment, I want to turn that question on its head, because when I became CEO of Onyx Pharmaceuticals, a publicly traded biotech company here in the Bay Area in 2008, this wasn't a simple self-actualization exercise. These were the banners and headlines from the blogs and the chat rooms in the business community. Screaming from cyberspace, who is Tony Coles? See, this is what happens when affirmative action takes over and you get black people in these jobs with several other colloquial expressions that I can't use in polite company. The company is doomed. And even one noted TV personality declared, "I don't know about that management, I would sell. But I knew who I was. I could see who I was, and we all know there's a difference between looking and seeing. Son of a minister, husband of Robin, Taylor, Andrew, and Evan, and I'm fortunate to have two of my three sons and Robin here with me today. Physician, business executive, lover of jazz, R&B, and soul. Thank you, Robin. But most importantly, a humanist with a simple desire to extract the best from the people I was leading, all in service of transforming the lives of people who were counting on us, waiting for us to offer them hope through new therapies. Comfortable in my own skin, confident, and driven to surround myself with the absolute best, because I had learned that you're only as good as the people you surround yourself with. My job wasn't to answer the harangue of the blogosphere, talk to the bloviators. My job was to prove that with focus and the best and brightest team I could possibly build, that we could accomplish a nearly impossible feat, to deliver new cancer treatments that would transform Onyx and outpace the competition in terms of value creation. That was my job. I was CEO. I set a vision and a strategy to get us there, which in 2008 translated to what we called 15 by 15, our company mantra, as we set our sights on becoming a $15 billion market cap company in 7 years by the year 2015. An aggressive objective, I admit, but I knew we could get there. So indulge me for just a moment. Imagine in your mind's eye that you're the new CEO, that you were me in that case, that you've assembled your team, the odds are daunting, and the shareholders are anxious to hear about your plan. To deliver the charge to succeed, you look around the table and you look into the face of each of your executives, and what do you see? The dream team from the startup that just sold for billions of dollars, a group of graduates from Stanford and other elite schools, your college buddies, your friends. What does your team look like literally? When I went to rebuild the team at Onyx, I did this exact exercise, imagining each of the key executive roles filled. But I didn't have any images, no preconceived notions of who would be staring back at me. I guess because as a minority, I had no template for what it actually looked like. Perhaps because when I woke up every morning and looked in the mirror, I was constantly reminded that I didn't look like someone else's idea of success, that I was actually someone else's idea of affirmative action. So I could take a leap in logic. I was simply unburdened by a precast notion of university credentials, pedigrees, socioeconomic status, skin tone, gender, religion, country of origin, sexual orientation. And it wasn't, as we all like to say, I was raised to be colorblind. No, I could actually see if you were black, or white, or Asian, or Middle Eastern, Indian, or Hispanic. I could see that. And to deny that tells us something of the problem. It was because I had set adrift the notion that it mattered and replaced it with a simple question. Where can I find the most qualified person for this particular role? The best and the brightest person uniquely capable of exceeding expectations. I told each prospect about our ambitious mission of 15 by 15, and I asked them two questions. Why should I hire you? And what can you do to help us get there? Not surprisingly, turning the cube just 90 degrees, I understood that diversity and a diverse team always creates the best results. Looking for the best and brightest allowed us to see those with that certain intangible something that would create success. I would ask candidates, what are you up to in the world? Because that question allows you to really see who they are and what they can do. Because when you're building a team, you're looking for the mix of passion and compassion in an individual, and you need both to build this. Now, know this, that when you're building a team, you're building an ecosystem. And I wasn't looking for people who made me feel comfortable. I was looking for all the right elements, the right amount of sun, a little water, some plants, and the oxygen that results and exchanges energy for life. I also wasn't concerned that achieving diversity, here you go, would compromise quality. The so-called we can't lower our standards rule just to get a diverse workforce. Silliest notion I had ever heard, because that's not what I saw in the mirror every morning when I looked at it. This reverse formula, the notion that focusing first on hiring the most extraordinary talent and not assuming that quality is compromised allows you to find employees that bring differentiating skills. It allows you to look for the person with the ability to innovate a particular role, and ultimately the slate of candidates automatically opens up, and in a most atypical way. Because what I knew is that every person brings a unique perspective and skill set that could be the catalyst for the next big idea, the next big technology company, or the next therapy. And that all of these perspectives and skills would be influenced by races that were different, ethnicities, religions, you name it. Literally who we are as the most extraordinary, innovative country in the world. And now more than ever is a time for us to remember that. And this is what predictably happened. Onyx Annual Report, Executive Team Photo 2012. Seen hundreds of these, haven't we? Notice anything unique about this particular photo? More women than men and more color than usual. And this just after Ted Love, our head of research and development, who was also black, had just retired from the company. To say nothing of the invisible diversity you can't see in the individuals here. We sold the company 1 year later, as Robin said, for $10.5 billion. In fact, our revenue forecast projected that had we not been acquired, we would have reached our $15 billion goal by the end of 2015. Now, I know this didn't happen by circumstance. It happened because of what you see in this photo. And I'm confident the team at my new startup, Yumanity Therapeutics, which is focused on Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and Lou Gehrig's, will be able to create the same kind of extraordinary success we built at Onyx. Scientific founder of Yumanity, Susan Lindquist, is a world-class, highly decorated scientist and a leading advocate of gender equality for women in science. Of the other scientific founders, 2 are women, 2 were born outside the United States, and 3 are people of color. Now, we're just putting the rest of our team together at Yumanity, and we recently set out to fill the first 20 positions. We received an extraordinary number of 1,200 resumes for those jobs. 1,200 resumes from qualified applicants using technologies and social media tools that many people in this room probably helped create, I suspect. Our talent sourcing partner who came from Google says she's never seen anything like it. The candidates were the epitome of diversity, varied backgrounds, races, religions, genders, and ages. It was exceptional talent at every level. From the leadership to every bench scientist in the company, the talent is best in class. This picture from a team party in our home in Boston was taken just last month. And I'm proud to say that 52% of the team today is women, which is extraordinary in a technically based company. And we're building a solid foundation for diversity in the company because we know it matters. Having a broad base of applications certainly allows us to look for the best and brightest. It's now up to the leadership team to see the best and brightest to build the Yumanity ecosystem. Today here in Silicon Valley, we're all aware that progress is needed and much work remains to be done in high-tech, biotech, and the life sciences. So where do we go from here? First, we need to challenge the companies we work for to search for talent in counterintuitive places and with unconventional backgrounds. Using recruiting tools that don't discriminate and tapping networks that you may not even know exist gives you the opportunity to look for a broad slate of candidates and then see your next superstar. Because when you set your search parameters simply for talent that is the best and brightest, you shouldn't care what it looks like or where it comes from. It's all about having different, powerful, and yes, provocative and challenging points of view around the table. This starts with seeking the absolute best without any preconceived notions of what it looks like, where they come from, or whom they love. The reverse formula has worked and is working for us, and whatever approach you choose, go in believing that extraordinary talent by its very nature is diverse. Instead of relying on the antiquated and unfortunately common mindset of diversity for diversity's sake, because it's the right thing to do, let's really look at the person, and beyond looking, let's see the person. I guarantee you that if you can see the person, it will transform the way you think about diversity and dramatically increase your odds of maximizing success. 2014, sleeper movie Beyond the Lights. Gugu Mbatha Raw was a Rihanna-like pop star. Nate Parker was a police officer on duty responsible for her bodyguard work. Filled, fraught, and overcome with the trappings of success, this pop star decides to end it all. She sits on the ledge of the balcony in her hotel. He comes in, finds her there, tries to talk her down. She loses her footing, and just as she's about to plunge to her death, he grabs her arm. And she's crying. She's crying, saying, "No one understands." And he says the one phrase that captured my attention, which is, "I see you." I challenge all of us not to hire what's most comfortable, but to push our organizations to see what might be possible through a different lens. I appreciate this moment, my fellow honorees. I appreciate the time to share these thoughts, because this, my friends, is really what matters. Thank you.